Hey guys, it's Kaz here, aka Cats on Camera, and today I'm doing my June wrap up. So I will link above my TBR for June. I participated in the Queer Lit Readathon. It was meant to be a week long, but there were like 16 challenges or something like that. So I picked a book for every challenge and decided to do it for the month. So check that out before this video if you want to see what should have been on my TBR. I got a lot read, didn't get to all of them, but I didn't think I would, so it's fine. So first of all, I read The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. This one I started at the end of May into June. I read it on the plane to Norway and back, and I enjoyed this. I'm not really a reader of books with female main characters. I just like male main characters. I'm allowed to, that's fine. But in here, most of the characters are girls, and it's all about rape culture and sexism and feminism, and I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was something a bit different to what I normally read though. Next up, I read Elephant Shoe by J.S. Edge. This one I got as an ARC on my Kindle. It came out on the 17th of June, and then I bought it because it was so good. I really enjoyed this. I actually found this book on Goodreads on one of the groups that's like advanced readers group type thing. Thought I'd give it a go. I didn't expect to love it. I thought I might like it. It sounded interesting, but genuinely so good. You should read this. So this follows the main character, Mikey, who when he was younger, like 11 years old, he was in a car accident with his parents and his best friend. Both of his parents died, and his older brother shipped him off to live with his grandparents. Fast forward 5 years and his brother made him move back. So Mikey's got all these feelings against his brother, like he left him when he was young, their parents died, and his brother just left him and kicked him out to a place that he didn't know, and now he's come back and he's decided to rip him out of this place. Now he's built a life there, so there's a lot of emotion here from Mikey's perspective. He's also forced him to go back to school to sixth form because at the moment he's caring for his grandma who has dementia, and that's the reason that his brother wants him to move back and bring their grandma, so there's like more people to look after her. So when he comes back to sixth form, he sees Tate, who was his best friend that was in the car accident with him, and there's something not right about Tate. He's really distant, he has hardly any friends, he doesn't talk to anybody, he doesn't even want to talk to Mikey when he sees him. So yeah, there's this whole thing of him trying to figure out what's the matter with Tate and why he's like this, and trying to sort of deal with his anger issues towards his brother. It's also LGBT. There's a relationship in here which is really cute. It's like really angsty and then cute and then angsty and then cute. Love it. This book made me laugh, it made me cry. There's disability rep as well. Obviously we've got the grandma with dementia, but also the love interest, the gay love interest, also has a disability. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's kind of like an important part of the plot, trying to figure out what's going on, but it's really good. It's dealt with really well, and yeah, you should read this. If I can sum this up in one sentence, I would say I cried over a Pokemon card. Now you're interested, aren't you? Now you're wondering why. Give it a read and you'll find out. Next up, I read Fjord Blue by Nina Rustling. This is set in Norway. There's this American kid that crashed his dad's car and is shipped off to Norway to stay with his grandparents for the summer to work on their farm, kind of like as a punishment, but also to teach him how to look after himself and how to have responsibility and stuff. It's also got a gay love story. Obviously, like I said at the beginning of this video, Queer Lit Readathon, all of these books have some sort of LGBT plus rep in them. Forgot to say that about The Nowhere Girls, lesbian character. But yeah, with this one, Ben, the main character that crashes his car, he's not very likeable at the beginning. He's kind of like got this attitude problem, as you can probably guess. He crashed his dad's car and he was forced to go and work for a living. He's annoyed about that, but he does kind of change and realise that it's not so bad and gets on with his grandparents and stuff, who are awesome, really cool grandparents. I like the love interest too, Evan. As soon as I saw the name Evan, I was like, really? Another Norwegian Evan that I need to fall in love with? If you know, you know. Next up, I read The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mckenzie Lee. I feel like everybody's heard of this, everyone knows what this is about. It's about these upper class chaps going on a trip with pirates and crazy stuff, and this weird sort of magical realism element, and bisexualness and gayness. And it talks about race and gender back in the day, because it's set in like the 1800s, 1700s, I can't remember, back in the day. And yeah, I thought it was fun. Everybody knows what this is about. Everyone knows it's fun. Look at the title, look at the cover, of course it's fun. I didn't really know much about this going in. Obviously I knew that they went on some sort of trip across Europe, but that's pretty much all I knew. So then all the crazy stuff started happening and I was like, what is going on? But it's good. Next I read Young Avengers Volume 3. This is called Mic Drop at the Edge of Time and Space. This wrapped up this second run of Young Avengers. It's fun, I enjoyed it. I always enjoy the Young Avengers. It's a great series. I like the artwork in here. It's like my favourite sort of artwork when I'm reading comics. This wrapped up this arc, but there's definitely space for another run of this, which I hope happens because it's awesome. I think I will say about this though, I wasn't keen at the ending because at the end they have loads of different artists do a little space each, and I wasn't really a fan of that. I would just prefer the art to stay the same all the way through. It was nice for the artist to do a little bit here and there, but it wasn't my jam. Next I read The Mariposa Club by Rigoberta Gonzales. This was alright. It wasn't the best book I've ever read. I think the synopsis really ruins this because it's literally a lie. You read the synopsis and you're like, oh right, this is gonna happen, and none of what the synopsis says happens in the book, so it's kind of a letdown. So I feel like if it actually said a synopsis that made sense, I probably wouldn't have been so let down, I guess. Little did they know that when the town was struck by a tragic homophobic incident that robs the foursome of one of their own, the entire high school will turn to the Mariposa Club as a symbol of their grief, fear and hope. Literally none of that happened. Why lie in the synopsis? It was alright. Most of the characters were irritating though. Next up I reread Half Bad, that's not right. Next up I reread Half Wild by Sally Green. I love this series. I wanted to reread it. I read Half Bad like last month or the month before. I still love it. I still feel bad for Nathan. He has such a shit life, bless him. So much happens to him and it's so harsh. Yep. I also still love Gabriel. Gabriel's everything. Yeah, if you like witches and main characters that have absolute shit lives, then check this series out. Next up I read We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This one, obviously, loads of people like this on BookTube, so I finally got around to reading it and I really enjoyed it as well. I thought the alien aspect was really cool. I liked how it was kind of like up to you to decide whether it was really happening, whether it wasn't necessarily happening. It was cool. I liked it. I like the sort of metaphoricalness of the aliens and the should you save the world or should you just let it get destroyed. Next up I read Civil War, Young Avengers and Runaways. This one I think I probably should have looked on the internet of the running order of when this came out, because when it started, some of the stuff in the Runaways, I was like, what the crap is going on? So I feel like this is probably happens like maybe after the next issue that I've not read of the Runaways. I read three volumes of the Runaways, I think. So maybe this one comes after 4 or 5, because I was like, what the hell is going on? But other than that, I enjoyed it. I really enjoy the Runaways and I enjoy Young Avengers, obviously. So it was fun to see them together in a group setting. I think I would have preferred a different art style because it did seem very different to the Runaways art style and the Young Avengers art style. So it felt like it wasn't coherent to either of them. I don't know if this helps at all. If you've not read the Young Avengers or the Runaways, you won't know that this is different. But it has a different feel, a different aesthetic. I still enjoyed it though. Obviously it takes a while to get into when the characters don't look how they normally look to you. Definitely worth a read though if you like these two groups. Next I read Draw the Line by Laurent. This was meant to be a buddy read with Mckenzie, but I think we both failed because we literally didn't say anything to each other while we read this or afterwards, so I don't even know if Mckenzie finished this book or her thoughts on it. But there you go, a buddy read apparently. So this one was a bit different to what I expected it to be. I don't know if it says it in the synopsis, maybe I just never look at the synopsis, but There is a hate crime that happens in here which is witnessed by our main character, and nobody believes him, or they do believe him but they're trying to like sweep it under the table, under the rug, because the perpetrator of this hate crime, his dad is part of the police force, so it's kind of like hush hush, he didn't really do anything, but we all know he did. So Adrian decides to use his online comics to show what went on. He has this sort of persona of a superhero called Graphite, and he uses that to explain what he saw and try and show people the truth, I guess. And then also running through it, we have a love story, gay, of course, queer lit readathon. So throughout the book, we do have panels of the comic, which is really cool. I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I don't know why. I think I looked on Goodreads and it's kind of split. There's a lot of low ratings and then there's a lot of higher ratings, so I kind of lowered my expectations, but I actually really enjoyed it. So I guess if you liked whatever that book was called with the comics in, I guess if you liked Eliza and her Monsters, you might like this. I don't know, I haven't read that, so I don't know why I'm giving that recommendation. But if you like books that have comics drawn in it as well, then maybe you'll like this. And last but not least, I read A Little Bit Langston by Andrew Demkak. This one is super sci-fi, and I hardly ever read sci-fi, so it was a really cool change to do this. There's powers, there's weird alien activity, there's a weird government program. So in this, our main character, James, he's not very good at school, but basically he can manipulate electricity, and this organisation finds out, this school for people with weird powers situation finds out, and he goes there, and then loads of crazy shit happens, and it's really sci-fi-y, and it's fun. Like I say, I hardly ever read sci-fi, so I really enjoyed it. We also have this sort of side story about him and his best friend who have feelings for each other. It's really cool because the sexuality side of it doesn't really play a big part of it. It's not anything to do with the story. He likes his best friend's a boy. It happens. So I liked that. I liked that it was just kind of like a little side tidbit, like any romance would be with straight people in a sci-fi book. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. This is also part of a series which I didn't find out until afterwards, so crazy shit kicked off and then it didn't end because another book. So yeah, I've added that onto my wish list. So yeah, that's everything I read in June. I think I did pretty damn well, even though I didn't get to all of the books on my TBR, but that would have been insane. I mean, look at some of these books, they're quite big, you know? So yeah, tell me down below what you read in June, or if you've read any of these books, and tell me what your thoughts were about them, or if you want to read them now that I've mentioned them, aka read Elephant Shoe, tell me down below. If this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others, and if you continue to enjoy them, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.